This is about self-employment. We're going to talk about it, and it's going to be a short little 8-minute deal.
We're on.
It's a go deal.
It's a go deal.
I have a friend who sells printer cartridges. And he sells them on the internet. It's like cartridges, things like that, for replacement parts for computers. And he makes $50,000 a year, working 20 hours a month.
Wow.
And what happens is, that's a pretty nice little part-time job. 20 hours a month. Did I say a year or a month?
A month, 20 hours a month.
20 hours a month.
Amazing.
So, self-employment on the internet. It's a little tweak. Britain has there's an old saying about the British that it's a nation of shopkeepers. And that's a mentality that is, everybody's self-employed, and we're talking about self-employment. And we want to look at that, and we're going to be looking at it very quickly for this little video presentation. And I'm going to talk as much as I can about overview in a very short period of time. In a nation of shopkeepers, it's a very uncertain world. You can't count on the government to pay your bills. You can't count on General Motors to pay your bills in this country because, they're vulnerable too. Countries and large companies have a hard time downsizing services. The state of California is going through that right now. So when we're looking at this and we're starting to say, where is this going? It is appropriate in an uncertain world to look at self-employment. It's like an option. And in the first two DVDs, we're basically looking at job search. It can be very technical. It's loaded with 1,000 ways to qualify, that sort of thing, all the tests and all the things you have to go through. And it can be overwhelming, technically overwhelming, when you're looking at an electronic job search. So long term, some of us, it might be the only option is self-employment. To look at that and start saying, okay, maybe I should look at this thing. I'm self-employed, and I've been self-employed before, and it's easier than you think because you don't have to qualify. You just start doing it. Right. So if you have been working in a coat hanger factory, and all of a sudden you're saying, I'm going to get fired or it's going to end. Then you got to say, I got to do something. Your back's to the wall, and there's an element of things that are going on in your life that make you do something. Otherwise, you won't do it. Why would you do something if you didn't? If you weren't forced to? So, in order to get past this and go on, you're unemployed, and therefore you're saying, how can I go on and make this happen? There's actually has to be 4 things going on. There's a pathway that's very deliberate on this thing. And this is universal stuff. If you're unemployed, that's a crash. Your life is down. You're saying, if I don't do something, if a paycheck's coming in, who cares? But you're saying, I've got to do something. So you work to get unemployed, or you work to get some kind of income coming in. And as we looked at those other DVDs, what really happens is you can get employed pretty quickly, and you can be enjoying it. If you're doing it right, you're enjoying it. It's a unintrusive way of doing a job search. The other way is, now we're going to be talking specifically about self-employment. So you're unemployed, you're doing your deal to try to find a job, and in the meantime, why not look at self-employment? And it has to do with a couple of things. There's 2 issues that we'll be talking about. The first one is, how can I help? And that's within our group. Our group understands what that means. And did I say how can I help, or did I say who am I?
How can I help?
Okay, I'm just going the best I can here. So who am I? It's a self-inventory, self-appraisal. Take a look at who you are. Start saying, okay, what can I do? And then the other thing is, how can I help? Those are the 2 questions that you need to ask. And there's these 4 pathways to get there. The first one is you crashed and you're looking to do something because your back's to the wall and you're trying to go it. Next thing is to just fake it and say, okay, well, I get how to do it. I'm just going to pretend that my dream will work, that I will be able to do this thing. And if you make coat hangers, you make coat hangers, whatever it is. Maybe it's a perfectionist kind of business, and you're not a perfectionist. Maybe your partner, your wife, your husband, whoever, maybe they bring something to this that's a little different. You'll know something about something. Then it's a matter of also growing up. The government's not going to pay your bills, and eventually you're going to get older and it might be a little tougher to get a job. So you want to look at self-employment, and the time to look at it is when you're unemployed. Otherwise, who cares? You know, and we're looking at passion too, which is very strong in here. So you just fake it and you say, okay, I'm going to just see if I can make this work. It doesn't have to be about money in the beginning. You're just doing your passion. So there's a growing up factor of simply saying, I'm aware that I'm not going to get a free ride. Social Security isn't going to cover everything. And then the last of the four is intuitive. There will be a moment in your life where you say, this feels right. I want to do this. I believe that I can do this. I know who I am, and I know how I can help. Now, it may be like it's a big deal business. Maybe it isn't a big deal business. Who knows? You're looking at an option, and you're looking at it in a time when you've really got time to do that. So the self-examination is it's a process of looking at. There's actually a formula on this, and we're going very, very fast, keeping our eye on the time. And this is a process that says, who am I? And I am not my watch. I'm not my necktie. I'm not my car. That's not who I am. So who am I? The memory word on it is Roger T. And each one of those means something. And I'm holding this up, and it's just going to be up for just a second. I am my relationships. I'm skipping down. I am my gifts. I'm born with some things that I like to do. I am my talents, and I am my resources. And my resources are every experience I've ever had in life. I know something, and I'm committed to it at a deep level. And with that, I'm able to say, okay, that's who I am. And then I got to figure out how can I help. And the principal obstacle to this, when you look at resistance, is of all things pride. Pride says, I will not serve. I will not learn. When you take that approach to it, you don't have a chance. So you greet life like this. Just be open to it. Pride says, no, you stay there, I'll stay here, nobody gets hurt. I will isolate, I will do it my way, I will practice anger, I will do whatever I have to do to self-preserve. And it's not useful when you're looking to be self-employed. You want to find out who you are. You're redirecting your energy, you're taking your experience that you have commitment on. We have a left brain and a right brain. And in those two areas, you know, I guess I'm going to have to move fast. So I'm going to go to, the passion is there are things that you can fall in love with your life, fall in love with what you do, some part of your job you love. And there's a process to this thing, and it's pretty straightforward. You're just going to go do the same thing we do in the other two videos. You're essentially going to put volume on it. My wife and I started a business. I wrote over 500 personal letters to people she knew, and we were in business just like that. It's amazing. And I was all set to do a completely different kind of a business, life, and I couldn't do it because we were so busy. Business cycles are going to happen. You have to be prepared that there's going to be some downside to it. Prudent reserve, things like that come into play. And then we have your advantage, and your advantage is service. I will serve is a great concept. And do you think we're real close on this thing? We
Yes,
gotta be.
I think so.
All right. Thanks. Enjoy the. And there's a backup video to this that'll be 30 minutes and give you more detail. And thank you so much. Enjoy self-employment.